My wealth is growing day by day, week by week, month by month. As long as I continue to dollar cost average to the market, then my wealth is growing. And of course, the market right now is definitely up and down. This video is filmed at the beginning of August 2026. As my wealth grows, I need to find ways and ensure that my wealth doesn't get depleted. So I need to find ways on how to protect my wealth. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about 5 ways that you can protect your wealth, because protecting your wealth is super important. We definitely want to have a good offense. We want to equally have a great defense. And I'm going to give you some great defensive ways to protect your wealth in today's video. The first way that I'm going to protect my wealth, and the first way that I think you should start protecting your wealth, and these are not in order, I'm just going to give you 5 things, is car insurance. You have to have car insurance if you want to protect your wealth, if you want to protect your emergency fund, you want to protect your investments. You don't want to have to pull from credit cards if something were to happen to your car. So basically you have car insurance to protect you if you were to get in an accident. So if you do get in an accident, the car insurance company should cover the damage to your vehicle. Now I know a lot of times, depending on what happened or depending whose fault it was, the car insurance company may not cover your vehicle, but we get car insurance for this protection. So that if you were to get in an accident and you need your vehicle, or you may need a rental or something like that, that money is not coming out of your pockets, in turn depleting your wealth or depleting your emergency fund more than what needs to come out. So if your car gets totaled and you have a certain kind of car insurance, then your car insurance will give you the money back for your car, or they'll help fix the car. Of course, it might take a long time. A lot of times it won't be very smooth. Having car insurance will stop you from dishing out a whole lot of money for accident, because the car insurance company will partially pay or fully pay for that damage. That's why we're paying car insurance every single month. Honestly, good coverage with your car insurance will protect you from unexpected events. The second thing that you need to have, and the second thing that I have to protect my finances, is life insurance. Now, life insurance is not really for me, it's for my family. I use term life insurance. Basically, I look at life insurance as an expense. I don't look at it as an investment. It's just something I have to pay every single month. $35 for $1 million policy. If anything were to happen to me, then my family would get $1 million, and they should know what to do with that. Invest a good bit of it, but use it for your expenses, income that you lost when you lost me. So I think that life insurance is super important. I think that everyone should get life insurance, especially if you have a family or someone that's dependent on you, because when you're gone, what do they have to rely on? Where is the money going to be coming in at? Are they bringing in a lot of money? If not, they're going to need some kind of income if you were to pass away. It's very morbid to think about life insurance, because you're literally paying every single month for if something were to happen, for if you were to not be here anymore. So me personally, if something were to happen to me, I would just want my family to be covered. I want my child to be covered. I want my wife to be covered. I want her to be able to pay for the house. You can pay the house off. You can pay off the cars. You can pay off your student loan, live off of that amount of money for a few years. Maybe she gets a job, maybe she doesn't, I don't know. That's something that we would definitely have to talk about more. What would you do if I were to pass away and you were to get this $1 million into your accounts? It's kind of crazy to think about. And to protect your finances, you're gonna have to pay for that. These are all expenses. You wanna protect your finances with your car, you're gonna have to pay for car insurance. You wanna protect your finances with your life, you're gonna pay for life insurance. And I just think it's super important. For me personally, I did a 20-year policy, because in 20 years, I should have a nicely funded investment account, which should kind of cover if something were to happen to me, because my family or my wife, she could then pull from those investments. The third thing that you're going to have to protect your finances is health insurance. Now, health insurance is super important. If you have an emergency, just like car insurance, health insurance is very important. Now, health insurance can be very expensive, so you want to make sure you're shopping around for the right health insurance for you. For example, it was a time, or last year, when I was paying over $300 a paycheck for health insurance, and we never even got to use it. So I kind of downgraded a little bit. Still have health insurance, just not paying as much, but health insurance covers you for when you go to the hospital. So you go to the hospital, you have this big hospital bill, $50,000, $40,000. Health insurance will cover a good portion, if not all of that. But all you have to do is pay that premium every single month or every single paycheck, and your health insurance should cover a lot of things. For example, we had an emergency room visit last year for our child. He wasn't feeling well. My health insurance says if you go to the emergency room, you will pay $250 for that visit. Went to the emergency room, sure enough, we got a bill back for $250. Pull that out of the emergency fund, pull that out of savings, pull that out of checking account. $250 is not a lot of money. When you look at the entire hospital bill, I think it was like $3,000 or maybe $5,000. Imagine if we didn't have health insurance, we would have been forking out $2,000 to $5,000 for a hospital stay that was about 2 hours. All they did was give him Tylenol. and take his vitals. It's absolutely insane how much you can pay in hospital bills, especially if you're not covered. But mind you, I was paying that $300 check. By then I already paid probably more than $5,000 in health insurance. This is just the protection that you pay for. So you're not pulling out $5,000 from your emergency fund, or you're not pulling out $5,000 from your investments, or you're not pulling out a $5,000 personal loan to pay that off. And then that personal loan's at 20% or 15%. We're protecting our finances. Yes, you're paying a premium to have this protection, but it's worth it in the end. At least that's what I believe. And the fourth thing you want to build to protect your finances, to protect your investments, to protect your future is an emergency fund. Now, all these things, you're going to have to pay some kind of premium for them to work, whether that's a deductible or you're just paying monthly into this. But what you're going to be paying out of your pocket is more than likely to come from this emergency fund. Basically, we want to put as little as possible to these expenses. That's why we have all the protections in place. Your emergency fund will pay for these expenses. So you want to build an emergency fund. You want to have a 3-month, 6-month, I would even say a year worth of money in your high yield savings account for an emergency fund. So we're talking high dollar. We're talking a lot of money here. We could be talking $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, all depending on how much your expenses are. We want to look at an emergency fund as you are not able to work or you lost your job. But we want to make sure that we can survive, whether that's a 3-month, 6-month, or a year, off of this money. So this is why it's important to keep your expenses low so that you don't have to take forever to build this emergency fund. We want to keep this cash set aside so we're not pulling from our investments, or we're not going into debt for a car issue. We're not pulling out our investments because we have to pay a $1,000 deductible or a $2,000 deductible for our health insurance. We can pull that from our emergency fund, and then we can work to build that back up to the right number that it needs to be at. Having an emergency fund is very important, and it serves as a great protection for you when an emergency does happen. And the price for these emergencies can be controlled by having these insurances in place, whether that's health insurance or whether that's car insurance. And the fifth thing that you want to do to protect your finances is to stay healthy. We don't want to just invest for 10 years or 20 years and then not be here. We want to make sure that we're here for the long run. I know there's some things that will happen to you that you cannot control, but we want to be able to control the controllables. So we want to make sure that we're working out, we want to make sure that we're staying fit, we want to make sure that we're eating good so that we can actually see the fruit of our labor. We can see what life looks like 20 or 30 years from now because we've been saving for this forever. I think about retirement all the time. So I really want to make it to retirement, and I'm not going to make it if I'm not taking care of my body. Of course, there's things that will happen to us out of our control, but the things that we can control, like our body, our mind, our health, we need to do that. Because it's very important that you make it to the retirement. It's very important that you make it to the point in life that you've been working for your entire life. Again, growing wealth is important, but protecting it allows you to keep it. By installing these 5 protections into your life, you can almost ensure that you're not gonna have to pull from your investments if an emergency were to happen. And you can ensure that your family will be protected. So think about some of these protections and how you can include them in your life and then actually implement them into your life. It is very important to have car insurance. Very important to have life insurance for your family. Very important to have health insurance for your family, because accidents are going to happen. Uncontrollable things are going to happen to you, and those hospital bills are going to be through the roof. Yes, you're paying $9,000 a year for health insurance, but if you were to go to the hospital for something that's really bad, you could be paying 2x or 3x that in hospital bills if you didn't have insurance. And then you definitely want to have an emergency fund to pay for emergencies when they happen, to pay for the bill from the hospital, to pay for the bill from the car accident or from your car insurance. And then you want to keep healthy. Keep your body healthy, stay active. Don't just sit around and save your money, but also use it for your body. Take care of yourself so you can see what you built for those 20 or 30 years when you were younger. And none of these things may be super exciting, but these are honestly great protection that you need to put in place, especially if you're on your way to becoming an adult. So let me know what you guys think about this video. Just something I thought about the other day as my wealth continues to grow. Even with the market going up and down, I'm still dollar cost averaging into the market, and my wealth is growing every single day, and I don't want to lose it. So I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm just like, I have these protections in place that will hopefully stop me from losing all of my wealth, because these protections will help cover the entire cost of basically emergencies. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe to my channel. Also check out my links below. I have a link for Mint Mobile, cheap phone bill. You pay yearly, and me and my wife were paying literally $60 a month for our phones. They're completely paid off, and we're paying $60 a month. That's super cheap. I see some people paying $130, $200 for their phone bill. Not us. $60 a month. Check out the link in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next video.